Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about feel better first, then lose weight. Kind of the opposite of how a lot of people approach weight loss, because a lot of times people start their weight loss journey when they feel like shit, and they use feeling like shit as the motivation to get them to lose weight. I feel so bad about myself that, or I feel so bad physically, mentally, emotionally, how I look. That's it. I'm going to force myself to make the right choices. But if we take a step back and look at that strategy and why it almost never works, it's because you're depleted. You're completely exhausted, tired, beating yourself down to a pulp. And now you try and take something on that's really difficult. Let's put it a different way. Imagine you're going to run a marathon next month and you spend the whole month partying, drinking, not sleeping, and then you go to run the marathon. How are you going to do? Yeah, but what if you're tired of feeling bad though? So what? You're in a bad spot physically, mentally, emotionally. You don't have the energy to do the things you need to do to run the marathon, and you don't have the energy to do the things you need to do to master your weight because you're exhausted, you're depleted physically, mentally, and emotionally, and you don't have the resources necessary to stay on the path. Now, you can start the path. You have done that plenty of times. You get real upset, and I'm going to start. And it's Monday, and you stick with it 3, 4, 5 days, maybe sometimes a couple of weeks. But what happens? You almost always quit. And it's not only just because you're depleted, it's also because the thing you're trying to do to lose weight is usually ridiculous, an extreme. Keto, I'm looking at you, keto, paleo people, intermittent fasters, calorie counters, all of you. It's extreme. So no matter how much energy you have, it's almost impossible anyways. But I digress, because this is about how you feel in the beginning when you start your journey. And for most people, when they start their weight loss journey, they're absolutely depleted and exhausted of all the resources they need to succeed. So what's the alternative? The alternative is that once you get to this bottom and you say, God, this feels terrible, something's got to change, that you start strategically approaching how you're going to transform instead of being a little baby and trying to change everything all at once. Because again, if we go back to the marathon metaphor, if you had a marathon to run even next month's not enough time, but whatever. But let's just say you had a marathon to run next month. I would hope the first step you would do is you'd start cleaning up your lifestyle and preparing for it now so that you could run the marathon when the time came. And so how does that look with weight loss? Well, maybe you realize, oh, that's it. I got to change this. I got to do something. Instead of jumping right into a stupid diet, maybe you start by getting some more sleep, hydrating your body, relaxing, nourishing yourself with some healthy food, moving a little bit more, maybe meditating a little bit, and get your energy levels, your emotional resources, your mental resources back up to a higher level. And then starting to approach changing your diet and your eating in a more intense way when you have the energy and the focus to do it and actually have a chance of sticking with it. So again, take it for what it's worth. But when you look at your own weight loss experiences, I'm going to guess that you always start on a Monday. You're completely exhausted, depleted, feel like shit physically, mentally, emotionally, and you jump into something really extreme. You stick with it for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and then you always end up going back to what you always do. And so if you want to change that process, if you want to change that routine, you may want to instead take a little bit of time, a week or two, 3 or 4, and let yourself get your energy and your focus and your emotional resources back online, and then start whatever plan it is you want to do. And if you want support with this approach, please click the link in my bio or go to Program Yourself Thin, get the free hypnosis session I give you, watch the video I made for you, read the emails I send you, and start to walk this different path because it's there to help you. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'd love to try and answer them. Can I answer them? Can I answer your weight loss questions? Yeah, I can. What's up, Katie? How's it going? Hello, Lulu. How's it going? Nice to see you all here. Yes, if anyone has any questions about weight loss, anything at all, feel free to ask it. And I'll probably tell you how you're thinking about it is completely wrong, most likely, because most people who want to lose weight think like dieters, and dieters think completely wrong about weight loss, which is why most dieters are overweight and never lose the weight for long. It's not because you're dumb. It's not because you don't have willpower. It's not because you're not a smart person. It's because you're following a stupid ass strategy of dieting. So, so that's good news, though. Don't be upset about that. Don't be upset that you're wrong. Nothing wrong with being wrong. Because once you realize you're wrong, then you can fix it. Then you can be right. Wouldn't you like to be right? Wouldn't you like to weigh what you want to weigh and have a way of doing it that worked for you and made sense that you could stick to so that you could live at your goal weight for the rest of your life on your autopilot? Wouldn't that be nice? Well, the first cost you got to pay is to realize, oh, I was wrong. Nothing wrong with that, though. My entire path of weight mastery is littered with my own things I was wrong about. This sting a little bit. Don't get me wrong. It stings a little bit. No one wants to be wrong. No one wants to waste their time. But not the end of the world. It's the beginning of the world. Because once you realize you're wrong, then you can start figuring out what's right. But most dieters live in their own self-delusion and the cognitive dissonance pressure of not being able to admit that everything they think about weight loss is completely wrong. But again, it's very freeing because then you realize the problem wasn't you. The problem was the strategy. The strategy is the problem. And the strategy problem you have is that you have no strategy. Dieting is not a strategy. Dieting is a tactic. It's an attempt to try and change one thing and have that be what's going to completely transform your weight. But yeah. I love you says, what do you think of fasting every other day and eating every other day? Been doing it for 3.5 months. I mean, in general, now, again, I like to qualify my answers because in Program Yourself, then the golden rule is there's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. So if you're fasting every other day and eating every other day, and you've been doing it for 3.5 months and you are just over the moon, you love doing it, the weight's falling off of you, everything's just amazing, life's great, then what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Oh, that's bad? Oh, no. And if someone does say it's bad, fuck them. If you love it and it's working for you, then you do that. Now, that being said, for most people, that's a strategy that is unpleasant and really difficult for most people. And if it's unpleasant and difficult, then it's never gonna, I don't think it's a good idea because even though you may lose weight while you force yourself to do it, if it's not a relatively comfortable plan for you to follow, you're not going to stick with it. And then what's the point of that? Again, I think what separates me from almost all weight loss stuff you're going to hear in the world is that I don't give a shit about your weight loss. I don't give a fuck. Lose 30 pounds in a month. I don't care because all I care about is living at your goal weight. That's all I care about. So I don't give a shit if people lose dramatic amounts of weight doing dramatic things that they can't stick with. I'm not impressed by that. And you shouldn't be either. This is how you start snapping yourself out of your diet trance. Who gives a shit how fast you can lose weight if you put it all back on? That's an awful ride. You know, in Disney, what they have, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, right? It was like, they've got to come up with a, Mr. Toad's awful dieting ride. And that's what you all put yourselves on right from the beginning because you do shit that's unsustainable. So that being said, it depends on what your experience of it is. If you're over the moon, everything's amazing and you're loving it, I'd say stick with it. But you got to be honest with yourself. If it's stressful, if it's hard, if you each and every day are anxious about the following no eating day, then I say it's a terrible plan because it doesn't matter what weight loss you've achieved, it isn't going to last. And so again, as soon as you shift your focus from losing weight to living at your goal weight, everything changes, and everything changes for the better because you start creating strategies and thinking about long-term success, which is what you want. Everyone here has lost weight and then put it back on. You're not thrilled about it. You don't love that you put the weight back on. You don't love, oh, I lost the weight, so that's all that matters. Yeah, not climbing a mountain, right? You climb Everest for the rest of your life. You're proud you climbed Everest. Even though you came back down. Yeah, the rest of your life, well, you know, I climbed Everest. I climbed Everest. Yeah, cool. But it's not like that with the weight. Every time you say the weight, you just feel like a shit. They put it back on. So again, it's so obvious too. And it's so fucking, this makes me nuts. I go crazy with this stuff because I read a lot of really smart people. People certainly are smarter than I am, scientists and people that study weight loss all the time. And the big weight loss conundrum is why people can lose weight, but then they always put it back on. And is it the hormone signaling? Is it some weight regulation system in the body that we just don't know about? Why is it that all these dieters lose weight and then they put it back on? It's the biggest mystery of our time. And it's like, I'm not a genius, but it's not a mystery to me. It's not a mystery at all. The mystery isn't a mystery because people are doing ridiculous shit to lose weight and they're blinded to how ridiculous it is because they're so fixated and focused on the excitement of losing weight that it overrides the bullshit they're doing. And as soon as the weight loss excitement goes away, because now you're at your goal weight, now you're just faced with the reality of living this way and it's fucking miserable. And so you quit and you start eating more and your weight goes up. I'm not saying there's not hormone signaling and weight regulation systems in your body, because there are. But how can we miss the fucking biggest part of the story, which is the way you're all losing weight is miserable to you. You feel like shit. Your quality of life's going down when you start your diets. So yeah, no human out there is going to consistently live a lesser quality of life for long. And that's why 95% of dieters put the weight back on, because the way they took the weight off reduces their quality of life. Even though they're losing weight, even though they get to their goal weight, your quality of life is still lower because you do not like living that way, or you feel like shit if you're a keto person. So to you, I love you. I say, again, just reflect on your own experience of it. If you love doing it, keep doing it. I think it's great. If you don't like doing it, it's stressful, and you realize it's just a matter of time. Most dieters are dieting as if it's an endurance test. It's just a matter of how long can I do this? Oh, can I do it? Can I do it another day? Oh, but I'm down a pound. That's never going to last. So what do you want from me? And it's right there. It's right there in front of your fucking eyes. You've experienced it. You watch everyone you know trying to lose weight. You see them doing it. And yet we can't think outside of that dieting box, which is strange. So there's my answer to that. So whatever strategy you all choose, I hope you choose a sustainable, enjoyable, comfortable one. So yeah. Olivia says you got great advice. Seen it on the videos. And again, with this advice, wise man. Thank you. Thank you. I am a wise man. When it comes to weight loss, weight mastery, I got to say I'm pretty wise. Can't say for all areas of my life, but I will say, I mean, when you obsessively focus on something for 30 years, you tend to gain some wisdom, I would say. And I want to share that wisdom with the world because it hurts my heart. Going through the world hurts my heart because I see so many people suffering, 74% of the population to be exact. And actually, it's a lot more than that. Because let's be honest, 74% of the population in America, adults, are overweight or obese. But let's be honest, the other 26%. Okay. How many of them are happy and content? I'm sure it's a good percentage, but I think a lot of them are miserable just controlling their weight though. So what I'm talking about is literally living at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot in a way that makes your life a lot better. So that'll happen. Casey says, yep, I did that method for 6 months, lost weight, gained it all back 6 months later. Exactly. And that is why I'm here every day, because you people are front and center in my mind. People that have lost a dramatic amount of weight and then put it back on, and people have done it repeatedly. I'm here for you more than anyone else, because it literally breaks my heart when I hear those stories. It's so devastating. And that's why I'm here, to help you try and avoid that. And if you've lost the weight, I want to help you keep it off, but you've got to shift your mindset. You've got to start thinking differently. I mean, I was thinking, like, I was just reading about like stomach surgeries today, and it's like, gastric bypass works a lot better than lap band effectively, because the bypass affects hormone regulation, which to some degree is what the injections are doing, in a way. But it just made me realize, even the lap band, which doesn't affect hormone regulation, it just shrinks your stomach by half, 70%. But think about that situation. Think about your stomach was, let's just say half. Imagine half your stomach got lopped off, and now you can't eat as much food. You'll literally throw it up. Even in that situation, people are overweight. So it's like, if you don't believe the mindset is the most important piece of your weight loss, then I don't know what more proof you would need. If shrinking your stomach to a third of its size doesn't make a person lose weight, how do you explain that? How do you not see that the mindset is literally the most important piece of your weight loss? Now, listen, on a physical level, what you're putting in your mouth's the most important thing. As I always say, you don't have to change your mindset if I threw you in jail and I control your calories. You keep your shitty mindset. I'll make you lose weight. But in the free world, your mindset's the most important piece because it's controlling what you put in your mouth. So again, I mean, lap band is probably the best example that this is all mindset. If you don't change your mindset, we can literally even shrink your stomach, lop 75% of it, cut it off, access to it, and you still will not lose weight long term. So it's like, I don't know what more proof people need to know that your weight is controlled by your mindset. And even if you believe it's controlled by your mindset, the next piece becomes, who are you going to learn mindset stuff from? I ask this all the time. Who are you going to learn mindset for weight loss from? Other than me. I'm not saying there's no other people out there. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, I'm trying to make the point. There's no big known national name that when you think weight loss mindset, who pops in your head? No one. No one. Think about how obsessed you are with dieting and weight loss, and you can't even think of a mindset weight loss person probably. And if you can think of someone, it's someone, that doesn't have a national microphone, national awareness. Maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know. What's up, Nura? Nura says, my last few days have been insane. How everyone gone crazy, or is it me? It's me, right? Well, I would tell you, and again, I am in a unique position in the world to notice trends of how people feel. And I'm thankful for that because it makes me feel sane at times when I feel crazy. But I will let you know, last week especially was a very challenging week for a lot of people. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. The first one that I'd never heard about until this year is that last Monday is considered, it's called Blue Monday. And so, again, we're done with the holidays and now we're in the middle of winter, the bills from holidays come in, you know what I mean? We're still months away from the spring and the hopefulness that brings. On top of that, the world's crazy right now. Again, I don't care who you support politically. It's a crazy world. Come on. You know what I mean? Most Americans, at least, I imagine people in the other parts of the world, but certainly most Americans kind of just live this chronic, stressful reality. And I think it always goes up when there's change. So I think there are a lot of reasons why people may be feeling a little crazy these days. And I think you should acknowledge that, have some grace and give yourself a bit of leeway. I was just had this conversation today with someone that, again, in the program yourself thin world, we're always learning how to influence our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors. That being said, you can influence your behaviors and how you feel, but you can't control them completely, which is to say that even if you study mindset obsessively, I've studied it obsessively for 30 years, I still have ups and downs. I still have stressful times and more calm times. I still have good and bad days. And I think that's an important thing to realize because, especially when it comes to weight loss, we've all been sold this bullshit bill of goods that, you're going to lose the weight and it's going to be like a fairy tale. Everything's going to be great. And I think that fucks with a lot of people because I think a lot of people that do actually end up losing the weight and get to their goal weight, then all of a sudden they're hit with depressing days, stressful days, a shitty day of eating. You're never going to hit this point in life where everything's just perfect. You're never going to hit this point where you just eat perfectly all the time. For the rest of your life, there's going to be times when you make bad food decisions, overeat, feel sad, feel stressed, whatever. The goal isn't to eliminate those because that's impossible. The goal is to minimize them. And when they happen, to reduce the intensity of them and how bad they get and get ourselves back on track as quick as possible. So you're not alone, Nura. And again, times like that, you just lean into the program more. Listen to more hypnosis sessions, honor the lifestyle habits more, get some sleep, drink some water, move your body, these types of things. So again, we don't have in our mind that we're never going to be upset again or go crazy again. We have in our mind that we're going to, and when they happen, we've got strategies ready to go when they happen and we're ready for it. So it's a profound difference. D says, how do you avoid boredom eating? That's the easiest question in the world. You start doing more interesting things. It's so simple that it's the obviousness of it is what makes it. What do they say? What's that thing? What's the word? I can't say the phrase. It's basically the idea that we're just blind to shit right in front of us. And I don't know, there's a way to say it. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, how do you avoid boredom eating? You don't avoid boredom eating. You start doing more things that are interesting to you. So what you do, you start, but let's go into it a little deeper. So the first thing is you start to recognize the patterns of your boredom. When do you feel bored? Most likely you don't feel bored all the time. You probably feel bored when you're not working or when you're not with people or when you're not doing something interesting. And that might be a lot of time for you. You might be out of work. You might be not around your friends or family or whatever. So you feel bored all the time. But again, the first thing you gotta recognize is the pattern. When do I feel bored? And the next question becomes, okay, during those times when I feel bored, what's something I could do that would actually be interesting to me? And I think if you start walking that path, you'll very quickly start to find things that are interesting to you genuinely. Right? Nura says, yeah, I've been meditating more. Yeah, exactly, Nura. And again, meditating more, it should help you, kind of move through this phase and then you start to feel normal again. Katie says, watch Peter Attia's, I never know how I say that guy's name. Peter Attia's recent podcast where he talked about our set point. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I love to hear about that. Let me know about that on the coaching call. Because I'd love to hear what he said. Because I don't know. I'm always interested in that, people's take on it. My opinion is that the set point is primarily a psychological phenomenon, specifically your self-image. I think most people have a self-image and an identity of being an overweight person. And I think that needs to change. Again, that's why in Program Yourself Thin, a big part of the focus is changing your self-image, changing your self-identity from that of an overweight person to a thin and healthy person. So that's my belief that that's the biggest part of what your weight set point is. But obviously there are also physiological, hormonal, biochemical factors as well. Okay. But I think that what trumps all of it, and we know this because again, and I don't know what Peter Attia says, I'm not arguing with him, but in terms of set point, folks, how do you explain people that lose weight and keep it off? And it's the same question I ask you with people that have substance abuse issues, whether it be alcohol or substances. Again, everyone's always focused on the people that get stuck in those ruts forever, but I'm always obsessed with the people that were alcoholics, are, however you want to define it, are still alcoholics, but don't drink anymore. Or, were substance abusers and now are no longer using substances. I'm obsessed with those people. How'd you do it? So I prefer to study success. And once you do that, it throws a real wrench in the concept of, what you hear a lot about addiction science, the idea that it's your brain, it's your upbringing, it's your genetics, all these things. Okay. But how do we explain the person who had that brain, genetics, upbringing, became an addict, and now no longer lives as one? What's the explanation there? How do we explain that? How did it happen? And that's the question I'm obsessed with. And I'm obsessed with that with weight. And that's why I'm in front of you now, because again, 30 years ago, I began studying people that lost weight and kept it off. That's my obsession. That's my focus. That's why I don't give a fuck. Someone could pop in here and say, well, I lost 30 pounds this month, Jim. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Talk to me in a year and a half, and then I want to hear about it. You just lost 30 pounds. I don't care. I don't care. I'm happy for you. Great. But I'm not learning anything from you. You got nothing to teach me. I'm not interested because I don't give a shit about fast weight loss. I care about living at your goal weight. So my obsession for 30 years has been people that have lost weight and kept it off. What you doing? What you thinking? How you living? I'm obsessed with that. And that's what I'm trying to share with you because no one else is, seemingly. And I don't understand why. I really don't get this, but that's that. Olivia says, no stress for me. I plan to do it forever, at least on some form, maybe eating 5-7 days. Yeah, great. Again, if it's not stressful and it's filling you up with joy and love and happiness and energy, then don't ask me. You got your answer right in front of you. However, if you do ever find that you don't really want to do it anymore, the motivation's kind of faded, it's hard to get harder, I would acknowledge that. I think dieters, when they say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, I think the road to regaining your weight loss is paved with ignoring how shitty you feel about following your diet. I think a lot of people try and ignore that as the weight keeps coming on and on and on instead of adjusting what they're doing. But that's another story. What's up, Tabitha? Florida Kayaker Fishing says, jail me now. I'll put you in there. I'll make you lose weight. I'll open that up as see, that's the crazy thing in the world. I will tell you, one of the hardest things as a business person who helps people lose weight is that there are so many ways for me to profit, um, that I won't do. And it's funny because I just made the decision yesterday. I'm like, I'm not selling my hypnosis program by itself anymore. And I was reflecting on it last night. I'm like, why does that bother me so much? I'm like, because I was saying, I thought, I was like, okay, well, if people just want to lose weight, I'll help them lose weight. And I realized what it was. It's that I know they'll lose weight, but I don't think even my hypnosis program, which is the best hypnosis program on the planet. And I've been telling people for the last year, you find a more comprehensive hypnosis program, we give $500. I haven't even gotten one person. I haven't even had one person try and take me up on it. That's how amazing my program is and how much better it is than anything that's even out there. Because all I said, just find the program and send it to me. If it's more comprehensive, it's got more shit, I'll send you the money. I don't care. And never even had one person send me another program. I thought that was interesting. But anyway, so I was selling the hypnosis program and people have told me like, oh, it's helped me lose weight. And I got a lot of positive feedback from it. But I was like, it just bothered me. And I was like, why is it bothering me? And I'm like, because I don't believe even my hypnosis program, which I think is the best in the world, I don't think it's enough to keep the weight off long term. And that was the part that was my hesitation. And I realized yesterday, yes, I could help. And I said this for last year. I said, fine, fuck it. People just want to lose weight. I'll help you lose weight. I said, I can't do it though. I cannot do it because I'm not going to give you half an answer. And so maybe I'll change my mind again, but I just, it wasn't sitting right with me. And I'm like, if you want to work with me, you either got to be all in or not. And so, I don't know what got me started on that, but I will tell you that, I don't know what got me started on that. Why did I say that? Oh, jail me now. That's why. Because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I could, that's what I was saying with I mean, there's so much money to be made in the weight loss industry, just being a shit stir who just sells bullshit. And being a hypnotist, I could sell the shit out of that program. I have sold the shit out of it. And it's like, I could just advertise it for people that are looking weight loss hypnosis and I could sell 50 copies a day of it. But I just won't. I could open up a jail and I could say, because what's the difference between having a jail that I put people in and make them lose weight and going to like a weight loss retreat on an island for a month and losing weight? There's no difference because it's not your normal environment. So yeah, you'll lose some weight for a little while and then you'll go back to your normal environment, put it all back on. So yeah, I could put you in jail and cut your calories down and make you lose weight. But, unless you want to live the rest of your life in jail, you're going to always put the weight back on because you haven't changed anything up here. You haven't learned any new strategies. Renew says exactly because I don't remember being hungry in almost all my emotional eating episodes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When, in Program Yourself Thin, one of the things you learn about is eating trances and emotional eating. You call it emotional eating, but I call it a trance. You go into a trance. And what's very interesting about trances is when you're in a trance, and then you come out of it, you have very little memory. I know that sounds weird. Like, you ate. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like you don't, oh my God, what did I just do for the last hour? You ate, but you're very disassociated from it because we're all multiple personalities. And when we go into an eating trance, it's like we're one version of ourselves. And then we come out of it and we're a different version of ourselves. So yeah, emotional eating is like that. Watching TV causes food consumption. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I was saying this on the call the other day that I was doing with my clients that you should really intentionally work to limit as many commercials you're exposed to as possible, especially with your TV watching. Pay the extra $5 a month and get rid of the ads. Okay. Because it's going to save you more money with food and bullshit that you won't buy. But yeah, absolutely. TV will. So he says, I think too many people mistake mindset for personality. Oh yeah, I could see that. I would agree with that. I think most people have no idea what mindset is. And I say this all the way. I run it right up to the queen of mindset, who's Carol Dweck. She's the one who created the growth fixed mindset, which is what, if anyone has any idea what mindset is, that's pretty much what they're going to tell you. Fixed growth mindset. And it's awesome stuff. I love fixed growth mindset, but it's like, it's great, but it's like one little piece of mindset in my world. In Program Yourself Thin, we go through the weight mastery pyramid: mindset, lifestyle, eating. And the mindset section has 6 components to a mindset: motivation, self-image, habits, emotions, thinking, maintenance. So that's what I consider mindset. And a subset of that, or I say two global mindset distinctions I make is fixed and growth. That's important. But then the bigger one I almost think is solution oriented or problem oriented. And so those are kind of global mindset definers. But then I think when we get in the nuts and bolts of actually having the mindset of a thin, healthy person, I think you need to know the motivation, how to motivate yourself. You don't know how to motivate yourself, folks. How to think like how to identify as a thin, healthy person, your self-image, how you define yourself, your habits, how do you have the habits that automatically trigger and fire off like a thin, healthy person, have that mindset, how to have the emotions, how to deal with your emotions in a genuine way without food, like a thin, healthy person, how to think like a thin, healthy person, the nuts and bolts of it, what words to use, literal words, what questions to ask, how to think like a thin, healthy person, and then maintenance, how to maintain, how to think about maintenance long-term, how to deal with the ups and downs, the paradigm of maintaining and living at your goal weight forever. Again, you dieters treat maintenance as an afterthought. In Program Yourself Thin, we literally start with maintenance. Day one is about maintenance because Program Yourself Thin is about living at your goal weight, not just getting there. I know you dieters, oh, fuck you, Jim. I just want to get there and I'll figure it out. Okay. 95% of people don't. I'm sure you're part of the 5%. I'm sure you've already lost the weight and kept it off, right? That's why you're here. Yeah. Yep. Oh, so he says Blue Monday was a marketing thing from the UK. Okay, fair enough. I'd never even heard that. I just thought it was an interesting concept. And it was funny because when I heard it, it just felt like a whole bunch of people felt shitty last week. A lot of my clients had a rough week last week. So again, I just put that together. That's interesting then. Oops. Oh, here goes my crazy looking on TikTok. Sometimes I hit the color button and I just look all weird for about a minute and a half. Cases I noticed right before I binge, I'll be uninterested in food all day. And then I get one idea and have to eat. Yeah, exactly, Casey. Well, that's great. So you start to diagnose it, you know. Your behaviors have patterns, folks. We don't just act in new ways every single day. I know a lot of dieters are surprised by this, but you weigh what you weigh because you eat in a very pattern-oriented way. And you might think, well, I don't have any patterns to my things. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Even you, is she here? Eldred, you here? Eldred tells me there's no patterns to her behavior. I do not believe it. I've never seen someone that doesn't have patterns to their behavior. But Casey, again, the first step is becoming aware of what your patterns are. And then the second step becomes finding solutions to those patterns. Sophie, okay, England is cold and dark right now. And they wanted people booking flights. Very interesting. Yeah, England, I'll tell you, I've worked with a number of people from England and God, the weather there. It just, I'm in New England, which maybe is English-like. I don't know, at least in the winter, but it is tough. You know, that seasonal affect disorder thing, I think is real and I think it should be dealt with and can be dealt with is good news, but I think it should definitely be recognized and it's a thing, but that's interesting. I had not heard that. What's up, Kent? Kent said, I successfully tried all or nothing diets for years because I didn't know any better. Now I start my day with hypnosis and visualizing my day living at my goal weight. Well, what do you know? And Kent's doing awesome. What are your results right now, Ken? I haven't even kept up with that, but let me know where you're at. I'm curious. Again, Ken's in the program. And on top of that, I will say Ken is taken to Program Yourself Thin like a duck to water. I mean, it's really very profound. But again, there you go. Being all or nothing, you all dieters, you're all or nothing, right? You're either doing perfect or nothing. In case you didn't know, that's a shitty strategy. It's never going to work for you. So he says, I'm seeming to find it easier to eat better when I'm home alone. Oh, sure, Sophie. So you should explore that because again, the being alone is an environmental factor that's triggering a mindset and a response within you, a state within you. And so, you know, you want to understand what that state is triggering is so that you can have the independence and control, whether you're home alone or not, that you can remain in that state and act the way you want to. But that's good that you realize that because now that's the first step to figuring it out. Florida Kayak Fishing says, eat food you hate, kale, beets, avocados. Yeah, I know people hate good food and natural food because that's a whole thing too. I mean, most people have lived, at least in America, most people have lived their lives eating bullshit food. And so you're addicted to that now, you know? And again, addictions it flips the world inside out. It turns black into white, you know? And so it's all of a sudden good, whole, natural, healthy food tastes like shit to you, right? Because beets, kale, avocados can't hold a flame to junk food and fast food and bullshit, taste wise, you know? So yeah, eat food you hate. I don't like that framing, but I get what you're saying. And that's where a lot of people kind of feel. But it does get to a deeper point. I will say that is that most dieters, that's exactly their mindset. I'm going to eat foods I hate and I'm going to stop eating the foods I love. That's how most dieters think. And that's why most dieters are never going to stick with their weight loss. Program Yourself Thin, we redefine what food you hate and love. You know, what food you hate and love is relative, folks. You can transform. Food you think you love, you can hate. Food you think you hate, you can love. You may not realize that. That's a big part of programming yourself, is that your tastes, your desires are very malleable. Problem is, you live in an environment where they're only trained to be one way. You're trained to hate healthy food and love bullshit. So you've never been in a situation where you've been conditioned to love healthy food. You're in a situation where you're told to eat healthy food you hate, but as long as Florida kayak fishing hates the healthy food, you will not do it long term. You know, unless you're some outlier. There's always a couple outliers that can live a life that they hate, but the vast majority of people are never going to do that. Now, I get what you mean. I used to hate healthy food too, but now I love healthy food and I hate unhealthy food. So that's why I don't eat fast food. Not because I can't, because I don't want to. It's bullshit. And part of it's because my tastes have changed, but most of it's because my mindset's changed. Again, this is what I'm trying to tell you, that it's your mindset's controlling your weight more than anything. It's not your willpower, it's your mindset, because your mindset's controlling your cravings. So sardines. Katie says, just was even years later, a person who was once obese will struggle way more to keep lower weight. Again, I know that they always reference that. And I hope it wasn't the Biggest Loser study, because it's like, good Lord, if it's always that study. And Peter Attia, you know, seems like a great guy with great motivation. So I'm not, again, without listening to him, I wouldn't question it, but I will say, like, as soon as someone tells me like, oh yeah, obese people, their you know, their leptin signaling, their hormonal signaling causes them to want to keep gaining the weight. Even years later, I've heard that 10 million times, and it almost always comes back to that Biggest Loser study they did, which A, is a tiny group of people. B, it's a bunch of people that did it in a fucked up way. So, you know, again, I'm not arguing that, but I think that there are a lot of ways to mitigate that process. And they never talk about that. They never talk about the mindset piece. They never talk about the lifestyle piece that affects your hormonal signaling. They never talk about the foods that change your hormonal signaling. So what you're seeing with a lot of people, I believe, that are obese and now have lost a lot of weight, now their body's fighting to put it back, is that they haven't transformed their diet. They've reduced the calories, and they've done it in a stressful way without having a lifestyle that supports it, without having a mindset that supports it. And I can tell you personally that as soon as my lifestyle falls apart, times in my life, my lifestyle's kind of faded away. Even though I got everything locked down, my eating is structured, my lifestyle's locked down, my mindset's rock solid. But as soon as the lifestyle piece gets wobbly, all of a sudden, my eating starts to reflect that. So again, I fucking hate that study, because I think that it's based on a few people. And I think it's, you know, I'm telling you, this Proteinaholic book, again, I'm telling you, every day I read it, I'm loving this book more and more. And I love the section I just read today was all about how to look at studies. And it was profound and it was great. But again, I'll listen to that thing, and I know he's going to talk about the fucking Biggest Losers. Tia says, I'm an emotional leader. Again, I'm an emotional leader. That's an identity. You're much more than an emotional leader, just so you know. But again, when we define ourselves as an emotional leader, it's going to be really hard to control your weight. Right? If you define yourself as an overeater, an obese person, overweight, no self-control, no willpower, all of a sugar addict, carb addict, cheese addict, ice cream addict. Well, as soon as you define yourself that way, you start to instantly limit yourself. So I would much rather say I'm a beautiful, intelligent, successful human being who has struggled with eating emotionally sometimes. Just right off the bat. But second of all, again, if you're an emotional eater, the answer is not to stop emotional eating. It's to figure out how to feel the emotions you want to feel in a genuine way. Big difference. Oh, cool, Katie. Thank you. Send it to me in circle. Send it to me in heartbeat, because I think we're going with heartbeat. Yeah, Deanna there. Hey, what's up, Deanna? It is possible to change your taste. It absolutely is. I promise you. Your tastes have been, they fucked with us our whole lives to give us taste buds that want bullshit food. And that's what tastes good to us. But I'm telling you, I've transformed my taste buds. It can happen. Julie says, finally found a dressing I like. So now I love salads. Yeah, that's how it is. And Julie's been at this for, geez, at least a year, I think. And so she just found the dressing. That's another piece of the weight mastery path is that, yeah, I wish you could start on day one, you know, all the answers, you can just do the right thing, but you don't. We need to invest time and energy because we just never know when that big thing's going to fall in our lap. And dressing is one of those things. The right dressing can change everything for you. It's a great job, Julie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Florida kayak fishers. That's what fat camps do. It's jail. Exactly. Florida kids. I did hypnosis to quit smoking. It's been 12 years. Yeah. Where's your hypnosis thing? I'm not selling anymore. So my whole program, like I said, it's still on the website. Don't even get it. Please don't get it. I had to fix a thing yesterday, so I didn't change the site yet. But if you want to get the mastery program, that's still there. It's still $300. I'm changing it today because I got the other page ready to go. I just have to update it. But don't buy the hypnosis program. Don't do it. I'm serious. Please don't buy it. And because by the way, smoking and weight loss are two worlds apart. You know, smoking, you can stop and never do it again. You have to keep eating. That's why you need a holistic, comprehensive strategy to master your weight. And that's the path I'm going on. Basic training started 151, finished 189. Wow. That's swole up. Oh yeah. If you just want the hypnosis session, yeah, go get the hypnosis session. It's in my bio. That's a free hypnosis session. Go get that. But do not buy that program. So he says, yeah, last week was weird. It was a weird week, right? How could it not be weird? Is it true that fat cells don't die? Yes, it's absolutely true. Good question. Fat cells, you have the fat cells you're born with, pretty much. And yeah, when you lose weight, you're not getting rid of fat cells. The fat cells are just emptying. So you'll keep the same ones, but they'll be there. Yeah, Deanna says, I like to make my own dressing, but I don't always have time. Yeah, that happens. So again, it's funny, like I'd run out of my normal dressing last week and I'd use a different one. And I did not enjoy my salads as much. So today I got my ass over there early in the morning, made a whole point of it. And I got the dressing because again, you have to honor your taste buds, get what you like. So it's worth the extra time it takes to find something you really like because you can use that forever. Yeah, I think Heartbeat's the app. I think, so all of you in the program, sorry, but this is it. We're going to change over to Heartbeat. I just got to check out like 2 more things just to make sure everything's working. I'm not going to change you all over until I'm absolutely certain this. I'm going to mess with this today. But I'm 99% sure we're going to Heartbeat and I'm super excited. And I know it's a little bit of I wasn't planning on that, but I had a conversation with them. They can fix the thing I think wasn't going to work. And just overall, I think it's going to be a better thing. So I think that's what we're going to do. And I know I appreciate the feedback I've gotten so far, and I'm still looking for feedback. So if you get me stuff, let me know now still, because it's not 100% yet, but I think Heartbeat's the way to go. And it's just going to keep getting better and better. Like I said, the Heartbeat thing too, just also understand that it wasn't completely set up yet. It was just mostly set up just so people get kind of tested out. And so I'll get in there this week and we'll be fixing it up and getting it working right. Don says, what store-bought dressing do you use? The dressing I use, it's a funny story because it's really weird. There's like, I live like, I don't know, 300 feet away from like a convenience store, but it's not like a normal convenience store, like a gas station one. It's like kind of a local-ish one, right? Where they make sandwiches. And so it's like kind of personally owned. So in that place, somehow they make this dressing I get. I did not realize it was made there, but it seems extremely local to where I live, but it's called Annie's Greek Gold, I believe. I believe it's Annie's Greek. No, it's not Annie's. Is it Annie's? It's Greek Gold. I know that, but it's so local. I do not believe you would even have it. It's like literally, it seems like right in my town and the town outside of it. But Greek Gold's what I like. Again, all good ingredients and it's solid. And, you know, I think it's important that don't freak out about the dressing. If you don't eat salads, just get shit. I know. I joke that like I'd use hot fudge for dressing if it would get me to eat salads. So again, you want to think in phases. So don't worry too much about the health of the dressing if you like it enough to get yourself to eat salads. And once you normalize eating salads, then you can start to optimize the dressing. And what's optimized dressing look like? Well, I would say my first suggestion is probably moving away from dairy, high calorie dressings like blue cheese, ranch, things like that, to more lower calorie dressings. And then once you've done that, as important, I think, is maybe even more important is to focus on natural ingredients. You don't want 500 things in your dressing. We don't even know what this shit does to us. So again, it's I think that's important too. So those are kind of how I'd put it. First, don't worry about the calories. Just get the salads in your body. Then as you start to optimize the dressing, optimize around calories and then around natural ingredients. And then take it from there. If you make your own dressing, I think that's really good. And then, use less and less dressing and still get enjoyment out of it. So anyways, that's my thoughts. Peggy, I know you don't like how the iPad works on the iPad. That may not be, there might be a formatting thing I might be able to change on that, Peggy. And I got your feedback and I appreciated it. And I took it to heart, and it's not 100% yet, but it just seems like there's some other things in the background that are more important than that even. And they're going to affect you. So I think for you, it's going to be better as well. But that's not a open and shut thing yet with the iPad, because I think if I upload the video in a slightly different way, it may act different. So I'm not sure about that, but I will look into it and find out. But I got some other stuff that's going to make up for that anyways, just so you know. Lessons, very quickly, probably we're talking next month here, but very quickly what's going to happen with the lessons is you're going to start to get little outlines with them so that you can not only, because I love how you're doing it, Peggy. I think that's brilliant how you're going through the lessons. I think that's great. What you're going to basically get is kind of study guide or study outline that's going to come with each lesson. So that'll be coming down the pike pretty quick here as well. All right. But I heard you, and I don't want you to think I'm just ignoring what you said. I appreciate what you said. There's just a couple other factors that I think are important that doesn't matter. The answer is I like either Asian or ranch or even honey lime vinaigrette. Yeah, again, vinaigrettes typically are going to be a little healthier than ranches, but the first order of business is just to get the salad in your body. Jen says, about your course and have been doing the hypnosis. Can I ask the difference between hypnosis and guided meditation? Yeah, I think they're very similar, to be honest. I think hypnosis and guided meditation are very, very similar. And I think that the difference is the intention. With hypnosis, I'm looking to install into your subconscious mind certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain ideas, certain behaviors, where I think guided meditation is more about like, it does that too, to some degree, but I don't think it's as explicit a goal with guided meditation. I think a lot of guided meditations just kind of give you an experience. Whereas with the hypnosis, I have a very intentional focus to seek to install certain thoughts, ideas, behaviors into your mind. But they're very similar. So. What's up, Christina? Oh, Christina, yes. Did you see my message about getting into Heartbeat? I did see that, and I was surprised because I thought I'd gotten in there without a picture. But please, Christina, do me a favor. Just upload any picture. It doesn't matter. Upload a picture of it. Just grab a picture offline. It doesn't even matter. Just upload a picture, because what I want you to do is I would love for you to get in there and test out the hypnosis library and let me know. And give me like an hour once we get out of here, because I gotta fix that part anyways. But I would love for you to see if that issue shows up there, like it did in the other one. And just pick any picture. You don't have to put your picture, but just pick literally anything. Just put it up there and just get in there. Katie says the Bold House Farms dressing is decent and a fraction of the calories of regular dressing, yogurt based. Yeah, great. That's a great suggestion. Yeah, okay, it does make you upload a picture. Yeah, okay, that might have been the only one I didn't see is yeah, just put whatever picture up. Doesn't matter. Yeah, there you go, Don. Yeah, Don just put a sunset up. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to put your picture up. And I can probably change it anyways, so you don't have to. I will look for that setting as well. Okay. Like I said, I haven't gone. Heartbeat is kind of like 60% set up, but I just want to get it just so you get a sense of the idea of the functionality. Excuse me. And then it's going to keep getting better. They're very similar, but the ways that it's a lot better are really important, and they're going to affect you and everything in the long run a lot more. So just trust me on that. But as long as the initial kind of experience is, at the very least, equivalent to some degree, it's going to get better and better. So lunch ideas besides salads. I mean, there's just like a million. I don't know. Like, it just depends what you like to eat. I say go to soup. Right. I just anything. I don't know. That's a hard question for me to answer because it depends on what you like to eat. Do you know what I mean? So I could sit here and just say a bunch of food. And you might not like any of it, and I just wasted my time. So, I don't know what you like to eat, and I would start there. So whatever you kind of like to eat, I would work on optimizing that. That's what I try. Christina said I try, but it won't let me in now. Oh, weird. Okay. You know what? I'll kind of like, I'll find out what you're in there and I'll delete it. And then I'll send you another link and let you try that one. We'll get that fixed. What's Heartbeat? Heartbeat's an app I use to deliver my program. And I was kind of testing out Circle. Now I'm doing Heartbeat, and I'm thinking Heartbeat's better. And again, as we move forward, Heartbeat that's the path. I think it's a better path to me getting my own app as well. But I think it's just better in some ways. The support's better. And so, yeah. But eventually, I'm 99% sure it's gonna be Heartbeat again. I have to check out a couple last things. But I just gotta make sure. But eventually that app will be open for free as well. So I'm really excited about that too. But that'll be coming. And I got cool free stuff for y'all coming too. So stay tuned. John says living at your goal weight is an amorphous concept when we don't have a clear picture of what that goal is. Well, it is an amorphous goal, and that's intentional because I don't want you choosing your goal weight based on these external markers of like a scale or a size clothes. Now, I know that's what you're going to do, so I still use it, but that's not your fucking goal anyways. That's not the main goal. If the main goal, like, oh, well, I chose my goal weight, so now I'm motivated. Well, if that was how it worked, all of us would be at our goal weight, right? Because your goal weight would be so inspiring and motivating that it'd be specific, you just get there. So I hate to say that it's like, it takes more effort to find the real motivation, but it does. And so it is that amorphous, how do I want to live? How do I want to feel? At my goal weight, I'm not like stepping on the scale every day and be like, oh, I'm still weighing the same thing. Oh, this is amazing. This is great. This is incredible. Because what happens, that just starts to fade to the background. And what I live day to day is I'm like, oh, I eat my breakfast. I'm proud of myself for eating the breakfast and I feel good. And then I know I'm looking forward to my salad. I'm going to eat that. When I finish, I feel good. I'm happy I did it. And then I'm feel energized and feel good. And then I go eat my dinner, same thing. I drink my water, I live my lifestyle habits. I do all this stuff. So it's not so much about a number I'm at or a size clothes I'm at. That's a piece of it. Don't get me wrong. I do have hard and fast goals, but you already got those, John. Like, you must have some hard and fast goal that you want to live at, or at least a sense of it. And if you don't, if you're just looking for a simple, like, I just want a number, tell me what the goal weight should be. Okay. Go to the BMI chart, look up your information and go right to the middle of the healthiest weight and pick that. What I'm trying to say is that no one can tell. It's like money. What's the perfect goal income? Well, it depends on who you are. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on what's lifestyle you want. There's just other factors there. And of course, the diet industry wants to make it simple and say, oh, it's just a BMI chart. Just pick that and do it. But if it was that simple and that number was the thing that filled you with motivation and inspiration, all the rest of it, then we'd all be in a different spot. It doesn't. You look at that goal number, because what? You can pick a number, by the way. Pick whatever fucking weight you want. Just pick whatever number you want. And the other side of it is you have to live a certain way to achieve that number. That's what most of you are doing. Most of you are out there and you got some goal weight in your mind that you've been saying for decades now, and you don't do it. Why? It's not a mystery. You don't do it because yeah, that goal weight would be nice, but what you have to do to achieve that goal weight, you don't want to do. You're not willing to do it because even though you could be X amount of pounds, your quality of life is reduced. What a weird can you imagine this, dieters? Can you imagine you would be at your goal weight and your quality of life would be worse than when you're overweight? I know you don't want to believe it, but how do you explain 95% of dieters that get to their goal weight, put it back on? How do you explain that to me? What's the hormones, Jim, that pushes them back? Really? I don't think that's it. I think the sweet spot of the goal weight, and this is why it's not a simple thing. This is why it is amorphous, because I can't tell you what your goal weight should be. I mean, I could look at a BMI chart and say, oh, you should weigh this. Well, why should you weigh this? What if I say, okay, this weight here, but for you to live this weight here, you have to eat and live in a way you don't like. So now the goal weight I told you got to weigh, you don't like living this way. It sucks. I never get to enjoy myself. I don't like this way of living. No, that's your goal. That's your goal weight. That's what you got to weigh. That's your goal weight. It's specific. That's the number. That's what you got to weigh. Yeah, but I'm not happy. I don't like this. It doesn't matter. That's your goal weight. Do you see how silly that sounds? Right? So what's the alternative to that? Well, you got to figure out there's again, and I to prove the point, I've been the same weight. I dropped 50 pounds and I kept it off for 30 years. 12 years ago, I had a blip where I put 25 pounds on in a few months. And life was bonkers. It was crazy. Things were stressful, all the rest of it. And at that moment in time, I was like, well, 25 is too much. So I dropped 15 pounds, but I raised my goal weight 10 pounds. Your goal weight is malleable, folks. So if you're in a calm, relaxed point of life and you're just locked in, zoned in, and your goal weight's here, great. But then all of a sudden life starts throwing you curveballs and bullshit starts visiting you. It might be a good idea to raise your goal weight. Am I telling you it is? I don't know. It's up to you to decide. For me, 12 years ago, if I wanted to force myself to keep that same goal weight, life was too hard. It was a lot harder for me to do the things I was doing to keep myself my goal weight previous to that. So could I have forced myself to live at that goal weight? Probably. Yeah, sure. But it would have been a lot harder because life was really hard at that time. So instead of forcing myself to this arbitrary 10-pound fucking goal, who cares? Who gives a shit? Am I way less healthy because I'm 10 pounds heavier? I don't believe that. And so I raised my goal weight because it was easier for me to live there. 25 pounds was too much. I didn't like where it was going. I didn't like it. I started to snore. I started to sweat heavier. I didn't sleep as well. There was a lot of negative effects from the 25 pounds. I dropped the 15 and a lot of those effects faded away. I said, okay, this is fine for now. And then as life's kind of returned back to normal, my weight's gone back down to what it originally was. Actually a little bit below that, but that's another story. So again, I can't give you a specific goal weight unless I can. Go to the BMI chart, look right in the middle, and there's your goal weight if you want something specific. But I think that's bullshit. If you just want to bullshit yourself and you need to have a number, I need someone to tell me what my goal weight is, then just do that. Just use the BMI chart. But that I don't think that's it. How could it be? How could it be? How can we not? Again, your goal weight to me is an equation. It's whatever goal weight you want to be at because you want to look a certain way. You want a certain level of health, happiness, benefits, reality from that weight. And then there's what you have to do to live at that weight. And I think most dieters, I think, have a weight that they've chosen that they're not willing to live at. I think I can't tell you the number of people when I ask them their goal weight and they tell me, I say, well, why'd you choose that? Well, that's because that's what I weighed when I was 18. The most ridiculous one I ever had, I had a client tell me their goal weight. And I said, well, why'd you choose that? And when's the last time you've been at that goal weight, by the way? They go 12 years old. I was in 7th grade. I said, you're 45 years old. Like your goal weight is to weigh what you weighed when you were fucking 12 years old. Now, again, it's not my job to tell people what their goal is going to be, but it's just like, I don't know how that goal can set you up for success. And I don't know. I see a lot of people doing this, picking an arbitrary, why are you choosing your goal weight? And I know you don't even know. And I know this for a fact. This again, I got you though. I got you. It's just taking me a little bit longer, but I got you. I got my Gym AI clone and I'm going to put a little program together. I'm going to give it to you for free. Because I think one of the biggest issues most people have when they want to lose weight, you don't even have a goal that inspires you. As a matter of fact, you got a goal weight that demotivates you because most likely you associate your goal weight with failure at this point. because I can't tell you the number of people I've had. No, it costs a lot of money to work with me privately. And we start everything, oh, what's your goal weight? And whatever. I was like, why'd you choose that? I don't know. I don't know. Cause that's what I weighed when I was 18. That's when I weighed when I got married. That's what the doctor said I should weigh. That's your fucking reasoning. That's your reasoning. That's like saying, I'm going to go to college. Why? It'd be good. I'd like another piece of paper with my name on it. That is not going to create the motivation you need to get there. So most people have very, very impotent weight loss goals. And it's just not about a number. Again, in Program Yourself Thin, we take your weight loss, we wrap it in personal development. It's about becoming the best version of you possible. So you say, Jim, what's your motivation to be at your goal weight? My motivation, I mean, a little bit of it, I want to look a certain way. Sure. But most of it is, I know at this weight, I feel lighter. I feel more energized. I feel good, which allows me to be the dad I want to be, the husband I want to be, the son I want to be, the brother I want to be, the friend I want to be, allows me to be the coach I want to be, run the business I want to run, achieve the goals I want to achieve, go on the adventures I want to go on, support my family the way I want to support them, support my community the way I want to do it, do things in the community that I want to do, that I take seriously, to have the energy, the focus, the motivation, the ability to take action. I think my weight and the way I'm eating and living allow me to do all those things. So my goal weight is a much more robust, non-numerative concept. It's about everything in my life. I attach everything in my life that's important to me to my goal weight, though, because I think this weight allows me to thrive in the best way possible. But I'm not just looking at a number. The number doesn't have any meaning, folks. I mean, it does obviously in some way, right? I mean, the number does have some relative meaning, obviously. And again, the BMI chart I think is great. I think as a starting point, I think you should probably put yourself somewhere in the healthy range of the BMI chart. And by the way, that's being in the overweight range. Being in the normal weight range may be ideal, but being in that next level up, health-wise, doesn't seem like there's much negative impact for that from most people. As you start moving towards obesity, now we got, there's negative effects health-wise. But again, being into the overweight range, if your health's fine and you're happy with how you look and everything's fine, then great. There's your goal weight. So again, it's a more nuanced answer. It's an art and a science. And I wish, again, if it wasn't, we just pick the BMI chart. So the clear picture of what the goal is to me, what's my clear picture? My clear picture being at my goal weight is not what I look like. I know that it's going to sound strange to you, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There's a part of it that is me looking a certain way, but I almost never think of myself like what I look like to motivate myself to eat well and live well. It's way more about what I feel and what I think and what I do. So when I think of my goal weight, I think of myself having a lot of energy. I think of myself feeling good physically. I think of myself having flexibility and mobility and strength and the ability to do the things I want to do. I think of my goal weight. I think about being successful in my career. I think about being successful as a parent, so it's like I take the goal weight, but I give it way more meaning, which is really at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, because most people's goal weight doesn't mean shit to them. It's just, I weighed that when I was 18. So I guess that's a goal. Oh, the BMI chart says I should weigh it. So I guess that's what I'll weigh. Well, there's no meaning there. Again, Viktor Frankl, he started logotherapy, which is really basically the concept of giving things that you care about meaning. And ironically, most dieters, their goal weight doesn't have much meaning to them at all. It's just some arbitrary disassociated number they've been saying they want to weigh for fucking 30 years. It doesn't mean much, though. So I hope that helps. Alon says, can you post the front and back nutritional labels of the salad dressing on your Instagram? Thanks. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I can do that. I can start hooking my Instagram up. I got to start giving that some love. But we're about to. I know I said this yesterday, that the whole app thing has been focus. But we're quickly getting to the end of that. It says, thank you. How long does it take to quiet your mind during hypnosis or meditation? My mind just runs. Jen, there's no right answer to that. And there's no time frame I could give you. And anyone that does is full of shit. Just like the habit formation. There's no 28 days is bullshit. I'll tell you that. But yeah, some habits go quick. Some habits go slow. How long does it take your mind to quiet? Some days it'll quiet more than others. Some people it's quick. Some people it's slow. it don't matter. If you keep practicing it, Jen, consistently each and every day, at least a little bit, your mind will quiet down. And that's how I would think about it. Don't worry about how long it takes, because who gives a shit? For the rest of your life, you're going to keep practicing this and getting a quieter and quieter and quieter mind. And every time you quiet a little bit more, it feels even better. So it's exciting in the sense, what you lose in the sense of having a specific time frame you can rely on, you gain in the excitement of knowing that each and every day you get better. And there's always something to look forward to for the rest of your life. And I tell you that as a 30-year meditator, that, it's just a never ending path. So don't worry about some arbitrary quiet mind goal you achieve, and instead appreciate and enjoy that each and every day you get a little more aware of your mind and you're able to quiet a little bit more, and it quiets down naturally, and just enjoy that process. Enjoy the hell out of it. Cindy says I didn't, whoop, shit. He says, I didn't get any notification regarding the switch from circle to heartbeat. Yeah, exactly. So Katie answered that. Yeah. You're going to get that today. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Maybe tomorrow or Thursday you'll get it, because I'm gonna switch everyone over. I gotta verify a couple things and then check a couple others, but you'll get that most likely this week. Again, assuming we're going over to heartbeat, which I think we are. Gratitude 108 says, again, thanks so much for your insightful content. You're welcome, and thank you for saying that. Appreciate it. Ivana says, I feel our body changes over time. I've never had arm fat in my 20s, and now it's so hard losing it. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Aging is a real thing. Our bodies change. And I think that's a whole nother piece of the goal weight equation, that I think, again, the idea that I expect, and that's why I think even your goal weight, I think you should really seek to make it not just a physical thing, not just what you're going to look like. That's not what motivates you. You have an evolutionary, you don't give a fuck what you look. I know you do now because it's been layered over us, but think about this. For a million years of evolution, we didn't have scales. You had no sense of what you weighed. You didn't have mirrors. There were no pictures. All the people you were around looked just like you pretty much, because they all have the same genes. And so we've stepped in this new reality where we base so much through our weight and what we look like. But what I'm trying to say is that evolutionarily, it's not a big motivator. It really isn't. I know you think it is, but it's not. And so what's a bigger motivator is how you feel. Millions of years or a million years, whatever, how long we've been on the earth, we care about how we feel. That's a much better thing to build around than how you look. You're not tricking yourself. You're just recognizing how your brain works and focusing on the thing that's going to be more motivating to you. And what's going to be more motivating to you than how you look, I know you don't believe this, is how you feel. How you feel when you wake up in the morning. Mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically. How you feel as you go through your day. How you feel after you just finished eating. Physically, mentally, emotionally. And you just keep stacking those experiences on top of each other. And if you start paying attention to those, and you start realizing every food choice I make, the food choices you make day in and day out are probably the number one thing that affect how you feel. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Stop with the fucking weight for a second. You eat a salad today, you eat healthy food today, you go to bed feeling proud of yourself, healthy, happy, good. You wake up tomorrow morning feeling excited, happy, proud of yourself. You eat like shit today, it's the opposite. And your weight didn't really change. So I'm trying to say is if you can bring yourself into the present moment, it's your behaviors that have the biggest impact on how you feel, because your life and how you feel is an accumulation of all these little moments. I don't know. Is that resonating at all? But yeah, your body changes over time, no doubt. No doubt. And so if your body changes over time, maybe your goals should change over time. I don't know. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. Each person gets to decide, though. Florida Kayak says, is age no matter on weight loss? I'd heard metabolism is the same. Yeah, age, that's a bunch of bullshit. We've been trained. Again, in Japan, people's BMI stays the same their whole lives. So what do you say to that? In America, we're just, listen, I don't know if we're still the heaviest country in the world, but we're right 1 and 2 with, I forget the country, but, so we're conditioned to think like overweight people, and there's a lot of justifications that are installed into our mind. And one of them is that our metabolism slows down as we get older. So that's why we gain weight, And so again, the main thing that's controlling your weight, no matter what age you are, is your calorie consumption. So he says, I keep looking at pictures thinking, oh, I thought I was fat then, and then I don't fit those clothes now, but I don't think of myself as big. But then I know I am. Yeah. No, I get that, Sophie. And that's classic experience that people look back at pictures of themselves when they were younger, when they thought they were too heavy, and they realize, what the fuck, what was I thinking? And that's part of the thing. And then the other part is people that think they're thinner than they are, and that's just a delusion. And so again, if you actually want to change your weight, that's a delusion you got to pierce. You got to get through that. You have to tell yourself, I don't feel heavy, but I am, and it's affecting my health, and it's putting me on a bad path. And again, what you'll start to realize is you have a whole system of denial set up where you don't look at pictures of yourself, or you don't get pictures of yourself taken, or you don't look in mirrors. And so you've created this denial system. But you've got to fight through that, because again, I don't give a shit what you look like. I care about how you feel and how long you're going to live. And so again, yeah, it's very common that people, they create this bubble of delusion where they just never reflect on their weight. They just ignore it. They don't get in situations where they have to face it. And that's why all of a sudden when they see a picture of themselves or they have to go to the doctors, they're devastated. But again, you can't accept that. If you want to change your weight, you can't accept that. Now, if you're happy being overweight and you're living that way, that's fine too. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm saying if you want to lose weight and you find, well, I don't even feel like I'm that heavy. And it's not until I see a picture of myself or I step on a scale that I realize, oh shit. Well, you can't just let that go. If you take this seriously, you got to realize, I got a brain. My mindset is fucking with me. My mindset tells me, oh, you're fine. And by the way, I mean, like there's millions of addicts that do the same thing. We live in denial. We live in a reality that's not true. So, yeah, you got to upgrade your thinking. You need to make your thinking more accurate. Okay, yeah, when I saw a picture of fat me, that was motivating. Yeah, sure, for sure. Because again, it's reality. That's why I say step on the scale every day, because it's a connection to actual reality. I don't really respond to TikTok comments or any comments really anymore. Don't take it personally, folks. I would love to, but it just becomes a time suck. But I posted a video saying weighing yourself once a week is one of the cruelest things you can do. And people lose their minds. Well, most people. But people say, that's how you create an eating disorder. That's how you get absolutely obsessed with the weight. Well, if you kept the same mindset, yeah. Yeah, if you step on the scale every day with the same diet or mindset, yeah, that's a recipe for destruction. But guess what? You can change your mindset. You can change how you think of the scale. You can change how you use it. And I'm a big fan of staying connected to reality when you want to create a change in your life. Otherwise, you go into Delulu land, and that ain't serving you. So yeah, get pictures taken yourself. Look at the pictures. Step into reality. I don't like that. But I'm going to use that as motivation to change things. I'm not going to go back into my bubble. No, I'm fine. No, I don't want to be in the picture. I'm good. I don't know. I recognize that exists for a lot of people, but again, that's part of, you have to step out of that if you want to change. Right? So he says that I'm doing the same thing with my goal weight, aiming for my 19-year-old body. Exactly. I think that's one of the worst things you can do, because that's one of the worst ones. And I see it's all very subconscious. People don't realize they're doing it, but in their mind, they don't have a goal weight that really makes sense to them. So they're choosing this arbitrary goal weight of that again, they're filling in the vacuum with, what I weighed when I was 19. But that creates a lot of problems, because now, again, most dieters are just thinking visually. I want to look like I look when I was 19. You ain't looking like you're not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that aging exists. I'm sorry I got to be the bearer of bad news. But, if you're 50 years old, you're not going to look like you look when you're 19. I weigh the same thing as I weighed then, and I don't look anything like I looked. Not really. Do I wish I could? Yeah, of course. So again, we got to step into reality and okay. We got to manage it. I don't want that. I don't want to face that. I get it. But all right. I'm not going to look like I'm 19. I could be the same weight if there's a reason for that now. But again, that's why I work almost exclusively with people over 45, because I don't work with people based on the motivation of just how they look. If all you care about is how you look, go work with a trainer. Don't work with me. I work with people that are older that hopefully their fucking goals have matured. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, once you hit 50, 60, 70, I hope the functional benefits of being at your goal weight and being healthy are more important to you than how you look. Right? Because who gives a fuck what you look like in a picture at 60 compared to, can I walk up the stairs comfortably? Can I get in and out of the car? Can I carry my groceries? Can I get on the floor with my grandkids? Can I live? Can I be alive longer, please? Can I have a good quality of life while I'm alive? Now, again, we live in America where we're conditioned to think like dipshits, but you got to upgrade your goal from a visual one of wanting to look like, I want to look like 19 forever. I want to be 19 forever. In my mind, I'm still 19, even though I'm 60 pounds and I'm 80 pounds overweight. And again, we can live in Delulu, which again is back to my point that everything's mindset. Everything's mindset. We live in our own realities anyways, but there is a reality too. So again, I hope for all of your sakes that you upgrade your goal. And again, the visual piece of it, how you want to look is a piece of it. I'm not saying don't have that, have it, but let more of it be your quality of life day in and day out when you eat the right foods, have the right health, happiness, all the stuff that comes from that, you know? So he says, I put on 30 pounds on Centraline. What's Sertraline? It's that stuff. Antidepressants, yes. Again, I will tell you, very rarely do I see any, I mean, because medicines don't, it's not so much that they're making your metabolism slow and now you're eating the same and you're putting weight on. Typically what things are doing is they're making you hungrier. So again, when it comes to, if you're on, certain medications, from antidepressants to steroids to whatever's, again, it's how do I manage that hunger? And again, in Program Yourself, don't have a comprehensive system, but yeah, to just try and stop yourself from eating when you all of a sudden feel a lot hungrier, good luck. It's going to be a challenge anyways, maybe, but, yeah, I feel for you though. I know it's extra hard. Florida kayak fishing, I got under 200 briefly twice, but couldn't maintain it. Yeah, again, I mean, to be honest, Program Yourself is an inside out approach to transformation. And so most people are never doing that inner work. And I don't know. Listen, if I knew of a way that didn't require mindset change and it was like, it's just like some amazing diet I knew about and you follow it and you'll lose the weight and keep it off forever, I would tell you the diet. I would tell you anything that would work. My mission in life is to help as many people as possible live at their goal weight. It's what I care about more than anything in the world. And so if I knew a way, I would not gate you. I would tell you to do it. But I have never seen someone who has been overweight lose weight and keep it off unless they have changed their mindset, their lifestyle, and their eating strategies. I've never seen it. I've seen a few outliers of people that really are able to live miserable lives being extremely strict with themselves. And I've interviewed them and yes, they've kept the weight off, but they're miserable. So I don't model them. I don't share their techniques with you because again, maybe you'd lose the weight, but you'd be miserable. And I don't think most people are going to do that. And that's not what I want to do. So everything I'm saying to you is a holistic, comprehensive strategy and approach to transform yourself into a thin, healthy person. And I can almost guarantee Florida kayak fishing that your mindset, I hate vegetables. Well, you hate vegetables. That's a huge barrier to ever getting to be a thin, healthy person. And I'm not arguing that you don't hate vegetables. I'm not arguing that. But what I'm saying is that that's a malleable thing. You can change it. You can start to like them more. You can reduce the hate and increase the love. You know what I mean? And so again, that's where a mindset shifts affect you on multiple levels. There's the obvious mindset shifts that you create, but there's also the paradigm shift deep down that you start to realize, oh my God, what I thought was true is not necessarily so. Which brings me back to my core. And I don't know why I can't remember this. I'm getting closer and closer to remember this quote every day. Let me look it up. It's the Mark Twain quote, and I think of it every day, but it's still working on it going in. It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. And this is what I'm trying to tell you folks, is that if you're struggling with your weight, it's not that you can't get yourself to follow the plan that you know works for you. It's almost guaranteed that what you think works for you does not work for you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The path to weight mastery is really more about discovering, acknowledging, and overcoming our ignorances to a better plan. So that's probably a big part of that reason. Opinion on meal replacements. Nope. Meal replacements are temporary. You're not going to sit there and drink that bullshit stuff for the rest of your life. So again, I would skip the process of replacing my meals for a little while, losing weight, and then hating it so much that eventually I go back to real food and then putting the weight back on. I would want to skip that process. And instead, I would rather dedicate myself to replacing my meals with healthier, natural meals that I was going to eat forever. Now, if that's what you were talking about, then I think that's great. But usually when I hear meal replacements, I'm hearing bullshit in a bottle. You know what I mean? Again, the diet suggestions I have for you is to eat whole natural foods, fruits, vegetables, greens, beans, primarily. And that's going to completely transform your relationship with your body, your ability to control your weight. So if that's what you meant by meal replacement, then I'm all for it. But if you meant stuff in a bottle, I'd say do not do it. It's just a matter of time. TJ says, what are your thoughts about Ramadan fasting? I mean, I don't have any thoughts about it. I think that Ramadan fasting is fine because fasting for reasons that aren't about weight loss, again, that's not my job. I mean, if you're doing, fasting or different strategies for spiritual reasons, that's a completely different thing. So knock yourself out. I would get some extra value out of it and pay attention to, because it's experimental in terms of you're changing your eating up a lot. So I'd pay attention to, what your hunger does, what your mindset says, how eating feels, how your satiety is. Again, when you fast all day and then you eat, I think you might notice that once you start eating, it's really hard for you to stop. So a lot of times Ramadan, not always, but you might find when you go into Ramadan fasting mode that you're overeating when you eat. And the reason why is because you're getting so hungry during the day. You might find that as you look forward to the next day and you have to fast, you're feeling a lot of stress and anxiety because you're not gonna be able to eat. So I would pay attention to that because you can learn a lot. There are certainly strategies. I've worked with people during Ramadan fasting. So, there's strategies you can use to reduce the anxiety of not eating. There's strategies you can use somewhat to deal with the eating once you start eating. But the big thing I do is learn lessons that when you get really hungry, you tend to overeat afterwards. And I would take that core realization and bring that into my weight mastery strategy and stop over restricting, because over restricting is probably one of the worst strategies you can do to lose weight. So Liz says, thank you. This is helpful. Good. I'm glad. Curvy Fun says, I need to stop eating and over drinking. No, you do not. No, you do not. You never need to stop overeating. You never need to stop drinking. You never need to lose weight. Never. You could literally be on the edge of having a heart attack and you don't need to. Okay. Need is a very specific word, and you never need to lose weight. You may want to lose weight. You may want to stop over drinking, but you do not need to. And that distinction is crucial, because as long as you approach this as if you have to, and there's some invisible force making it so you can't do it, you're bullshitting yourself, because you can absolutely do it. And you're not getting to the core issue that I don't want to keep overeating. I don't want to keep over drinking. It sucks. It's miserable. I want to start drinking just the right amount. I want to start eating just the right amount, because that would feel amazing. Let me go to work on making that happen. Completely different motivation, as opposed to, no, you got to stop doing that. It becomes, you lose your autonomy and you start to rebel against it. And once you start rebelling against that, rebellion is always going to win. So again, you don't need to, you want to. How do I stop overeating? Again, I mean, you get strategic. So, what you start to notice, why do you overeat? When do you overeat? There's a pattern to your overeating, and you need to recognize what that pattern is so you come up with a strategic solution. So you're not overeating all the time, most likely. You're probably overeating at night. When you try to over restrict, then you're overeating. But there's patterns to your overeating. Understand them, and then go to seek to strategically avoid that. I think that's a much better strategy. Katie says, I can't recommend against only weighing once a week strongly enough. I used to do it so inconsistent. Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny because again, mindset is so fascinating, because two people can look at the same thing and feel so different about it. And that's why it's funny to me on one level, it's sad to me on another. But when I put the video, like, don't weigh yourself, you weigh yourself every day, that I know dieters look at that and they freak out, but it's because they have a dieting mindset. And when you change your mindset, the scale can start to feel like the speedometer of your car. You're not scared to look at the speedometer of your car, are you? Right? It's just another piece of data for you, and an important one. And you're not scared to look at it because you know how to control the speed of the car. You know, if you're going too fast, you know how to slow it down. If you know if you're going too slow, you know how to speed it up. So there's no anxiety there unless there's cops around, right? And so the anxiety you feel on the scale is not from the scale. It's from the fact that you don't know how to control your eating and your weight. So it's not the scale that's the problem. It's what it reveals. And it reveals you have no fucking clue about how to change your eating or your weight. And that's what creates the anxiety, you know? And on top of that, you got a diet mindset where you're so zoomed into every single ounce and up and down. You're just on that roller coaster, but it doesn't have to be that way. You've been conditioned to respond that way. I get that, but that's not the only way you can respond. You could step on the scale one day and it's up a little bit and okay. Then you step on the next day, it's down a little bit. Oh, all right. And every time you step on that scale, though, it reinforces, it says, okay, this is serious. I'm going to look at it every day. I'm going to step on this scale and step into reality. And I'm going to start to notice the patterns. I'm not going to take any of them too seriously, because if you step on the scale every day, eventually what happens is it's like exposure therapy. After a month of doing that, you start to realize my weight goes up, my weight goes down. And you start to be much more in tune with what the trend lines are. So whatever, though. So I agree, Katie. All right, everyone, have a super day. I got to get out of here. Again, if you're not in my world, please go click the link in my bio. Go get the hypnosis session I give you. It's free. Get in my world. I got a lot of cool stuff coming your way. Watch the video I made for you. It's really good. Read the emails I send. They're really good. And this is a podcast. So if you ever want to have any questions, pop on here. I'm usually on here noon Eastern. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm happy to answer you. I'm here on TikTok, Instagram. I'm fixing you tomorrow. I'm going to have this fixed so it won't freeze up anymore. So I'm sorry about all that happening. That'll be fixed tomorrow. But if you have any questions, feel free to get on here. I would love to help you out. This is my mission. I'll help you for free. I want to help you out. And if you missed the call and want to listen to it, it's a podcast, Program Yourself Thin. You can go listen to that, put it on the background, and I will go to work on your subconscious mind without even having to do anything, just by listening to this podcast. You'll lose weight. I hear it all the time. And then if you're really serious, though, you go get the program. Again, you got about an hour before I change that price. You can still get it a little bit cheaper at programyourselfthin.com. And yeah, there it is. All right, everyone, have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.